Introduction. The Spanish-American War, which took place in 1898, marked a significant conflict between the United States and Spain. This war not only brought an end to Spanish colonial rule in the Americas but also led to the acquisition of territories in the Western Pacific and Latin America by the United States. Causes. The origins of the war can be traced back to the Cuban struggle for independence from Spain, which commenced in February 1895. Spain's harsh and oppressive tactics to suppress the rebellion were vividly depicted by sensationalist newspapers practicing yellow journalism, generating increased American sympathy for the Cuban rebels. As tensions escalated, the demand for U.S. intervention grew stronger, particularly following the mysterious sinking of the American battleship USS Maine in Havana Harbor. The USS Maine had been dispatched to safeguard U.S. citizens and property following anti-Spanish riots in the city, further fueling the calls for action. War declared. Following Spain's announcement of an armistice on April 9, there was an acceleration of their efforts to grant Cuba certain limited powers of self-government. However, shortly after, the U.S. Congress issued resolutions asserting Cuba's right to independence, demanding the withdrawal of Spain's military forces from the island, and granting President William McKinley the authority to use force to ensure that withdrawal, all the while disavowing any U.S. intention to annex Cuba. As a response, Spain declared war on the United States on April 24, and the United States, in turn, declared war on the 25th, with the declaration being retroactive to April 21. War begins. The Spanish-American War was largely one-sided, with Spain ill-prepared to face the formidable United States. Commodore George Dewey led a swift and decisive U.S. naval attack in Manila Bay on May 1, 1898, obliterating the Spanish fleet with minimal American casualties. U.S. troops occupied Manila by August. Meanwhile, Admiral Pascual Cervera's Spanish Caribbean fleet was discovered in Santiago Harbor, Cuba. General William Shafter and his troops, including the renowned Rough Riders, led by Theodore Roosevelt, gradually advanced towards Santiago to force Cervera's fleet out. On July 3, Cervera's attempt to escape was met with intense U.S. firepower, resulting in the destruction of his ships. Santiago surrendered to General Shafter on July 17, effectively ending the significant but brief war. Treaty of Paris. On December 10, 1898, the Treaty of Paris was signed, marking the end of the Spanish-American War. Spain relinquished all claims to Cuba and transferred Guam and Puerto Rico to the United States. Additionally, sovereignty over the Philippines was transferred to the United States for a sum of $20 million. However, the Philippine insurgents, who had previously fought against Spanish rule, redirected their resistance towards the new American occupiers. This sparked the Philippine-American War, which commenced in February 1899 and concluded in 1902. Remarkably, the number of U.S. troops who lost their lives while suppressing uprisings in the Philippines was 10 times greater than the casualties suffered in the conflict against Spain. Impact of the war. The Spanish-American War marked a significant turning point in the histories of both Spain and the United States. Spain's defeat redirected its focus from overseas colonial pursuits towards domestic priorities, leading to a cultural and literary renaissance, as well as 2 decades of essential economic development within the country. In contrast, the United States emerged from the war as a global power, possessing extensive overseas territories and a newfound involvement in international affairs. This pivotal moment propelled the United States to play a decisive role in European and global affairs, shaping the course of world politics.